Queen Zorya, ruler of the Xylari Dominion, stood atop the crystalline spire of her palace, her multifaceted eyes scanning the violet-hued skies of Xylari Prime. Her exoskeletal crown shimmered under the twin suns, a symbol of her unchallenged reign over 1,000 worlds. Beside her stood Elias Kane, her human consort, a man whose quiet demeanor and unassuming presence had intrigued her from the moment they met. She had chosen him not for power or prestige, but for his gentle words and the calm strength in his eyes. Or so she thought. Zorya's species, the Xylari, valued logic and precision. Their empire spanned galaxies, built on the backs of their bioengineered warriors and advanced neural networks. Love was a foreign concept, a human quirk she had indulged when she met Elias during a diplomatic mission to Earth. He was a low-ranking envoy, a man of no apparent consequence, yet his wit and quiet confidence had captivated her. Their union was unconventional, scandalous even among the Xylari elite, who saw humans as primitive and frail. But Zorya, ever the maverick, had silenced their protests with a wave of her clawed hand. She married Elias, believing him to be a humble man, a refreshing contrast to the rigid hierarchy of her court. Now, as she gazed at him standing beside her, his plain gray tunic a stark contrast to her iridescent armor, she sensed something amiss. The Dominion was under threat. The Krath, a rival species of ravenous, insectoid raiders, had breached the outer systems. Their armada was closing in on Xylari Prime, and her advisors were in disarray. The Krath were relentless, their hive-mind tactics overwhelming even the Xylari's disciplined legions. Zorya's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Elias," she said, her voice a harmonic hum, "the Krath will reach our orbit in 3 cycles. My generals falter. What counsel do you offer?" Elias tilted his head, his brown eyes steady. "I'm no strategist, Zorya, but I'd say you need to hit them where they're weakest. The Krath rely on their hive mind. Disrupt that and they'll scatter." Zorya's antennae twitched. It was a simple observation, one her advisors had overlooked in their panic. "And how would you propose we do that?" she asked, curious despite herself. He shrugged, a human gesture that always seemed oddly casual to her. "Find their neural nexus. Every hive has one. Take it out, and their coordination collapses." She studied him, searching for the source of his confidence. He spoke as if he'd faced such threats before, yet his file, painstakingly reviewed before their marriage, listed him as a mere diplomatic aide with no combat experience. She dismissed the thought. Humans were often bolder than their credentials suggested. "Very well," she said. "I'll relay your suggestion to the War Council." The council chamber was a cavernous dome, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent data streams. The generals, their exoskeletons adorned with battle scars, argued over defensive formations. When Zorya proposed Elias's plan, they scoffed. "A human's idea?" General Kale White hissed, his mandibles snapping. "He knows nothing of war." Zorya's eyes narrowed. "He is my consort, and his counsel is mine to value. Locate the Krath's neural nexus. We strike there." The general complied, albeit grudgingly. Within hours, Xylari scouts pinpointed the nexus, a massive, pulsating biostructure aboard the Krath flagship. Disrupting it would require a precision strike, a near-suicidal mission to the heart of the Krath armada. Zorya volunteered her elite guard, but Elias stepped forward. "I'll go," he said, his voice calm but firm. The room fell silent. Zorya's antennae stiffened. "Elias, this is no place for you. You are no warrior." He met her gaze, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Trust me, Zorya. I can handle this." Against her better judgment, she relented. Something in his eyes, unyielding, almost defiant, compelled her to agree. She assigned him a small team of Xylari commandos and a sleek infiltration craft. As she watched him board, her heart thudded uneasily. Had she misjudged him? The mission launched under the cover of Xylari's moons. Zorya monitored the operation from the command center, her claws gripping the console as the craft weaved through Krath defenses. The comms crackled with reports. Krath drones swarmed, their plasma lances tearing through Xylari shields. Her commandos were skilled, but the odds were brutal. Then, Elias's voice cut through the chaos. "Target acquired. moving to disable the nexus. Zorya's eyes widened. How had he survived the initial assault? The screen showed his craft spiraling through a hail of enemy fire, executing maneuvers no Xylari pilot could match. Her commandos followed his lead, their movements synchronized as if guided by a single mind. She leaned closer, her mandibles parted in disbelief. The footage shifted to an internal feed from Elias's suit. He moved through the Krath flagship's corridors with lethal precision, his human frame deceptively agile. He wielded a plasma blade, slicing through Krath drones with a grace that rivaled her finest warriors. When a massive Krath enforcer lunged, Elias dodged, planted an explosive on its carapace, and detonated it without breaking stride. Zorya's advisors gasped. Who is this human? KOYTH muttered. Elias reached a neural nexus, a grotesque mass of throbbing tissue and crystalline conduits. He planted a disruptor charge, but the Krath counterattack was swift. Drones poured in, their screeches deafening. Zorya's hearts clenched as Elias fought alone, his blade a blur, his movements almost inhuman. He activated the charge, and the nexus imploded in a burst of light. The Krath armada faltered, their ships drifting aimlessly as their hive mind collapsed. The command center erupted in cheers, but Zorya remained silent, her eyes fixed on the screen. Elias had done the impossible. As his craft returned, she met him at the landing bay, her advisors trailing behind. He stepped out unscathed, his tunic slightly singed, but his expression as calm as ever. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice low and resonant. He raised an eyebrow. "Your husband, I thought." "Do not jest," she snapped. "No diplomat moves like that. No human fights like that." Elias sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. "All right, Zorya, you deserve the truth. I'm not just a diplomat. am a operative for Earth's Shadow Corps. Special ops. Trained to infiltrate, disrupt, and survive. My diplomatic post was a cover." Zorya's mandibles clicked sharply. "You lied to me." "Not about the important stuff," he said, stepping closer. "I love you, Zorya. That's real. I didn't tell you because I wanted a life beyond the missions. I wanted us to be real." Her anger wavered, but her pride stung. "You made me believe you were ordinary." He chuckled softly. "Ordinary is overrated. Besides, you're not exactly ordinary yourself, Your Majesty." The generals watched, their antennae twitching with unease. KOYTH stepped forward. "My queen, this human's deception is a security risk. He must be—" "Enough!" Zorya cut him off. She studied Elias, her multifaceted eyes reflecting his image 1,000 times over. He had saved her empire, risked his life for her people, and yet he stood before her with the same quiet confidence she'd fallen for. "You will answer for keeping this from me," she said, her voice softer now. "But not today." Elias nodded, a flicker of relief in his eyes. "Fair enough." The Krath threat was neutralized, their armada retreating in disarray. Xylari Prime celebrated, but Zorya's mind was elsewhere. That night, in the quiet of their private chambers, she confronted Elias again. "Why hide it?" she asked, her claws tracing the edge of a crystal table. "You could have been my equal in the eyes of the court." "I didn't want to be your equal," he said, sitting across from her. "I wanted to be your partner. Power complicates things. I've seen it ruin too many good things." She tilted her head, considering his words. Humans were strange, their emotions a tangle of contradictions. Yet she felt a warmth in her core, a connection she couldn't quantify. "You are infuriating," she said, her mandibles twitching in what might have been a smile. "But you are mine." "And you're mine," he replied, his grin disarming. Over the cycles that followed, Zorya integrated Elias into her war council, his expertise proving invaluable. The court whispered, but none dared challenge her. Elias remained at her side, his humility a mask for a warrior's heart. Together, they forged a stronger dominion, blending Xylari precision with human ingenuity. And though Zorya had thought she'd married a humble man, she found she preferred the truth. Elias Kane was anything but ordinary,